You do this one. You do these series of things. My dear son, don't wish for anything inauspicious for others. Anyone who inflicts pains upon others suffers himself from that pain. So he was in this get-back mentality. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'll show you, Suruchi. I'm going to get a kingdom better than my father, and better than my father's father, and better than my father's father's father. So there. I'll show you. He's a Kshatriya. You challenge a Kshatriya, they're ready for a challenge. He's just a little boy, but that's his spirit. So she's advising him, take shelter of higher principles, not this lower principle. Because you take shelter of the lower principle, you know what? It's going to come back to you. The word is amangalam. And amangalam, Vishwanath translates it as fault finding. So mangala is like our mangala arti, auspicious arti. And amangalam is inauspicious. You wish something inauspicious for others, it's fault finding, according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Here's how he translates the verse. Oh, son, do not find fault in others, because those who have given suffering to others previously will suffer the same in this life. And his commentary says, do not find fault in your stepmother. You have experienced the results of sins you have committed in previous births. Since the person who gives suffering to others in a previous life receives it back in this life. So who knows what he did in his previous births? And remember, it's like the very beginning of the creation. So the previous birth was, another creation. But that carries over to after so many years of cosmic annihilation, then again creation, and he's still carrying that stuff. So don't do that stuff. Don't wish ill of others, because you having done so, it's now coming back to you. It's the law of karma, and he's advising her, she's advising him, don't participate in karma. Don't wish ill of others. Don't find fault in others, because you're just getting back what you did to others. Who knows what that is? But here it comes. Now, I'll share something with you. This nice devotee I know, just before coming out of America, I won't go into the detail. Well, there's this nice devotee doctor that I was having a conversation with just before this international travel. Just before. He's a doctor, and he has a partner. So there's two partners in a clinic. And this devotee is a devotee, Hare Krishna devotee, from childhood. And his friend is a Christian. And he was sharing with me that his Christian partner had a stepson that died young. And his friend was wondering, I have faith in God, why did this misfortune come? God maybe made a mistake. He did a boo-boo, because I'm good and my stepson is good and he died young. And whatever it was, a car accident or something. So why did this misfortune come? This is a present context of the same principle. So the devotee doctor said to the faithful Christian doctor, something back there in either you or your stepson, something back there. Do you ever make mistakes? And are you responsible for your mistake? Of course, you're a Christian, you believe that Christ died for your sins. But does that mean, you're not responsible for your mistakes? And his friend, a faithful gentleman, was hurt. How can you say that? I'm responsible for my misfortune? He couldn't handle it. He it didn't damage their relationship, but he couldn't accept that can happen. I'm responsible for the misfortune that has come to me. But it's a very basic principle being instructed here by Suniti. Later it's going to be instructed again by Narada. And for little Dhruva, it bounces. Doesn't go in, like for this doctor friend. Now, that was some years ago, and according to this devotee I was speaking with, his friend has kind of come around a little bit. Maybe somewhere in there, I'm responsible. Kind of reconciled his relationship with God. It's not, God didn't make a mistake. We make the mistake. And we're responsible for our mistakes. And when that responsibility for our mistake comes our way, we have to accept it. We have to accept responsibility. Doesn't mean accepting responsibility means you don't do anything. We're going to hear a whole bunch about acceptance because it's really important. Acceptance of the instruments of our own karma. So I'm going to tell a little Prabhupada story. I'm spending a lot of time with this because it's really important. And it's already 8:25. So here's a Prabhupada story. Everybody likes Prabhupada stories. One of the temples that Ambarish Prabhu purchased with his inheritance from Henry Ford was the Hawaii temple. Prabhupada was visiting in Hawaii. He wanted a temple. Ambarish understood he wanted a temple. With his own resources, he bought the temple. And actually, the building is in his name. Ambarish's name. Alfred Ford is the owner of that Hawaii temple. And in the early days, during Prabhupada's time of visiting the Hawaii temple, there was a nice devotee who would come to the temple, and he developed a relationship with Prabhupada. His name is still uninitiated devotee named Peter Burwash. During those early days, most of us that were full-time devotees, we didn't have income because, just like my situation, I was on my path to become a medical doctor, stepped out of that path and took the path of bhakti, and I didn't have any income. And most of the devotees, it was just like temple devotees, and there was hardly such a thing as congregation. Now it's the other way around. But Peter Burwash was a congregation member, and he had some wealth. He was not only a tennis pro, he had a school to teach tennis pros. So he had some money. He was good. And he liked the Hawaii temple. One day he gave $500 to the Hawaii temple. In those days, that was a lot. And a few days after he gave the money, the person he gave the money to left with his money. So he was like, wow. So sometime later, Prabhupada came to visit and do his translation work at the Hawaii temple, because he liked the place, the weather, and etc. And Peter, in the course of one conversation with him, told Prabhupada what happened. I gave $500 and this guy ran away with the money. So Prabhupada's reply was, that was not good, but don't blame the instrument of your own karma. Like, Peter wasn't expecting that. But he was like, fault finding. Look what this man did. He ran away with money that was donated. It was wrong. But so to be able to discriminate, that's over here is wrong and over here is right, and don't do the wrong and do the right. That's discrimination. That's okay. But don't blame that misfortune that has come to you, because the misfortune that has come to you is your own karma, and the person is the instrument. Don't blame the instrument. Blame your own past misdeed that's now bringing this misfortune to you. That's the lesson. Now, you may want to take some action, but in this response space, you're choosing what the appropriate response is to the situation. And one of them is not, the higher principle is not blame, it's out there. Because you blame it out there, you know what happens? This is what happens with negative emotion. It's pouring gasoline on a fire. Whoa, the negative emotion gets bigger. You follow? This person